Every morning, my AI assistant wakes up with amnesia. You can spend an hour teaching it your team's way of doing things, and by tomorrow, it has forgotten almost all of it. So in this video, I make Claude Code write its own training manual. I teach it our release process exactly once, it turns those instructions into something called a skill, and then I open a brand new session with zero memory and watch it run the whole process from a single sentence. Teach it once. It keeps it forever. Here's the root of the problem. A session's memory lives in its context window, and when the session ends, that window is wiped. Last episode, that wipe was a superpower, a fresh reviewer with no baggage. But it also means most of what you teach in chat dies with the session. Claude does keep a few private notes for itself, but they're fuzzy, they live on your machine, and your teammates never inherit them. Yes, there's a file for permanent facts, the CLAUMD file from episode 1, but every line of that file is loaded into every session, whether it's needed or not. Stuff a 20-step procedure in there, and you pay for it on every single question. A skill fixes that. It's just a folder in your repo with one file inside, called skill.md. At the top, a short description, what this skill does, and when to use it. Below that, the instructions. Claude sees all the descriptions, but it only loads the full instructions when the description matches what you're doing, or when you call the skill by name, like a / command. So a 50-line procedure costs you almost nothing, until the moment you actually need it. Let's make it real. This is Tiny Timer, a tiny command line timer. Version 1.2.3 is tagged, and 2 changes have landed since, a new loop flag and a bug fix. Around here, releases follow a ritual. A feature means a minor version bump, fixes only mean a patch, cut or release branch. Bump the version, in the code, and in the README. Write the changelog in our house format, ticket numbers and all. Run the preflight script, and only ship if it passes. Then draft a one-line announcement. I explain that ritual to Claude Code exactly once, with one twist at the end, don't do a release now. Turn this into a skill, so any future session can. Watch what it does with that. It doesn't just say, understood. It creates a folder called .claude/skills, and inside it writes its own manual, a skill it names cut release. At the top, the trigger. Use this whenever someone asks to cut, prepare, or do a release. Below that, our entire ritual, written down as numbered steps. And then it does something we never asked for. It adds its own guardrails. Never push, never tag, never merge, unless a human says so. The AI wrote its own training manual, scoped its own power down, and saved it into the repository, right next to the code. Now the real test. I close that session and open a completely new one, fresh context, zero memory of anything I just said, one sentence, prepare the next release, and watch the very first thing it does. I'll use the release ritual skill for this repo. Skill, cut release. Loaded. Its own manual, back from disk. Then the ritual, step by step. A feature landed, so this is 1.3.0, a minor bump. The release branch. The version, bumped in both places. The changelog, house format, right ticket numbers. Preflight green. The announcement, drafted. One clean commit on the release branch. Nobody retotted anything. The knowledge survived because it's not in the chat anymore. It's in the repo. So where do skills live? 2 places. A skill inside the project, in .claude/skills, ships with the repository. Push it, and your whole team's assistant levels up together. Every teammate who opens Claude Code here inherits the ritual, and a skill in your home directory follows you personally, across every project you touch. You can even edit a skill mid-session, and Claude picks up the change without a restart. It's a shared playbook that happens to be executable. One honest map, because there are 3 tools here that look alike. A skill is knowledge Claude applies when it decides it's relevant, and you can always call one yourself, by name /cut release, straight from the keyboard. For dangerous workflows, a deploy, say, you can mark a skill manual only, so the model can never trigger it on its own. And when something must happen every single time, no judgment involved, that's not a skill, that's a hook. A rule the system enforces, guaranteed. So knowledge and procedures go in skills. Actions you want to own go behind manual commands. Guarantees go in hooks. So that's the unlock, an assistant you can actually train. Teach it once, it writes the manual, the whole team inherits it, and no fresh session ever starts from zero again. That's episode 3 of the masterclass. Everything you watched was real sessions, nothing staged. Next episode, we give Claude Code hands, it reaches outside the terminal, into live databases and real tools. And if you want to understand what a context window actually is, and why it forgets, the full free course is on the channel, lesson by lesson. Subscribe and go teach your AI something.